This skill, we are going to focus on reducing undulation in butterfly, and the way we're going to do that is by adding flutter kick to fly. So why does undulation matter in fly? Well, if there's more undulation, that means there's going to be more drag because the hips are going to travel through a bigger surface, because the hips are going to travel through more space and the upper body is going to travel through more space. With more undulation, that means it's also going to take more time to get through one stroke cycle, and that means a lower stroke rate, which means you're going to get a propulsive impulse less frequently. So if you have more drag and less propulsion, that means you're going to have less speed. And in particularly in the sprints, it's all about speed. So it definitely is possible to have too much undulation. And when that happens, it's something that needs to be improved. It's not about too much, it's not about too little, it's about just right. We talked about the problems associated with too much undulation, but what does too much undulation actually look like? First, it can take the form of lifting the head too high to breathe. So when the head comes up to breathe, there's too much amplitude in the breath, and that's going to create more space that the body moves through. Along with that, which can be independent or in conjunction with the breath, the shoulders lift too high out of the water in order to recover the arms. Again, the shoulders go up, the hips go down, more range of motion. Next, it's important to get the chest down a little bit in the front of the stroke, but if there's too much pressure and they're really driving the head and the chest down, that can create too much undulation as well. As a result of all of these issues, the hips can go too high or too low, and again, moving through too much range of motion. So instead of a big wave, you want a tight wave. It still needs to be there, but it needs to be controlled. There's still undulation, but it's tight, it's not excessive, and the hips pretty much stay right up at the surface, and the chest dips down under the surface slightly, but it's not excessive. We talked about why undulation is important and what it looks like when there's too much undulation, and then we watched what good undulation looks like. So how do you address it, and how do you get athletes in line, and how do you help them figure out how to undulate appropriately? Well, what doesn't work is simply telling them to get flatter. They don't understand what it means, and they can't feel what it means to actually achieve that goal. Isolated drills are also ineffective at reducing undulation. Swimming slowly and swimming without any fatigue is totally different than anything that ever experienced when they actually swim butterfly. You can't swim butterfly slowly, and so any type of rhythm that you achieve when swimming slowly isn't going to translate very well to butterfly swimming fast. While drills can help swimmers feel certain things, if it's not integrated into their actual swimming, it's not going to be effective. So no matter what drills you use, swimming fly needs to be an integral part of the learning process. Without it, you're always going to be leaving improvement on the table. Next, we'll take a look at one of my favorite ways to help swimmers learn to optimize their undulation. There are many ways to help swimmers learn to optimize their undulation. This is one particular strategy that I find to be effective amongst others, and that's to swim fly with a flutter kick. It lets swimmers feel a flatter fly, and by flutter kicking, it forces them to tighten up the undulation. It's almost impossible to swim with a big undulation while using a flutter kick. When doing so, I like to use both single and double arm variations. The reason for that is the single arm variation is a little bit easier for them to get a handle on. The double arm variation puts more pressure on them, but it's also much more realistic in terms of what they'll actually experience when swimming fly. And when I use this drill, I'm also going to incorporate a lot of regular fly so they can feel flatter fly with the flutter kick and then try to recreate a similar sensation with a little bit more undulation while swimming butterfly. And most importantly, I train these activities. I have them descend, I have them swim fast, I have them build, I have them push the effort so that they can learn how to do this when it matters, when they're swimming fast and swimming hard. Next, I'll show you an example set of how you can put it together and start implementing these ideas today. So this set is specifically designed to improve fly undulation by tightening it up while using a flutter kick fly. So they're going to go 4 rounds through it. So they're going to go 4 50s with single arm fly. They're going to go 25 with flutter and then 25 with fly kick. So they experience the flatness and then they try to keep that flatness while swimming with a dolphin kick. Each one will get faster so they learn how to do this and learn how to execute this skill with increasing speed. The next set of 50s is similar. We're going to go 25 single arm with flutter kick and then right into a 25 fly swim. So that way now they're trying to incorporate the same skill into full stroke butterfly. The next, we're going to go 4 25s. Odds are fly with flutter kick, evens are fly swim. They are strong effort. Again, we're trying to incorporate that same skill, that same feeling of swimming flat through the surface into the regular full stroke butterfly. The distances are short so they can swim a little bit faster and they can get more repetitions and more practice without too much fatigue. Last, they'll swim a 50 butterfly to try to test it out and see if they can hold it all together and swim pretty well. They'll do the whole thing 4 rounds to get a lot of practice, and then the odd rounds, if you'd like, you can do with fins, and the even rounds without fins, just so they can feel something a little bit different. That's an example of just changing a couple simple tasks and then forcing them to explore those tasks to create a different skill and to create a change without having to tell them exactly what to do. Hopefully that's helpful, and please send me any sets. And if you end up using these ideas, please send me any sets that you create. I'd love to learn from you.